So let's talk about Ryan Murphy trifling behind another damn grifter. So Ryan Murphy, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this Lyle and Eric Menendez monster series that is currently on Netflix. It's a lot of mixed reviews. Some people are feeling the ways about it. Some people thought it was good. Some people feel like Ryan Murphy is trash and an opportunist and using these kids for clout or whatever the case is. But Ryan Murphy running around here talking about that his little movie, his little series over on Netflix is the best thing to happen to, you know, the Menendez brothers in the 3 decades they've been behind bars. So I want to give a shout out to Variety for this tea. So Ryan Murphy is pushing back. We already talked about this the other day against members of Lyle and Eric Menendez's family who, slammed Netflix's monster Lyle and Eric Menendez story as a grotesque shock drama. But that's pretty much what it is. He said the family's response is predictable at best. This is what Murphy said just hours after the family statement was released on social media via Eric's wife, Tammy. I find it interesting because I would like specifics about what they think is shocking or not shocking. It's not like we're making any of this stuff up. It's all been presented before. What we're doing is we're the first to present it in one well, it is kind of contaminated, in one contained ecosystem. What's grotesque about it? Tammy and the family, they have always done this, and they did this recently. They say lies after lies, but then they don't say what the lies are. They don't back up anything. Well, there's the point to that. It's sort of like, okay, so now these people are out here writing this stuff, but if someone's saying, oh, it's all blatant lies, I don't like blanket statements. I feel like if you're going to come in and you're going to go and say somebody's lying about whatever, you need to be specific, excuse me, in regards of what parts of the show is not true. Because I'm sure, look, Ryan Murphy, this ain't your first time at the rodeo. You already went through this when you came out with your previous season of Monsters with the Jeffrey Dahmer situation. How the family members say you didn't contact them, how you was having to relive their traumas, and you were creating narratives that were false. We've been here already. We've been here many a times with you. So stop trying to act like that you all of a sudden a damn victim in this situation. But I do agree with you on the fact of, okay, so what parts of the the scripted series based on a true story is the truth and not true? And first of all, I don't think the wife of anybody could speak on anything because neither wife or family member was there. The only people that could speak on what happened was the 4 people in that room, and 2 of them are already gone. And that would be the parents, Jose and Kitty, who the sons took their lives because of alleged abuse and all the other things that was going on. And a lot of people believe the essay, that the father was doing to the sons because remember, he had Menudo up under him. And the rumor was that he was SAing some of the members of Menudo. And there's even a scene in the show where he talks about like, okay, now what if the boys start asking for more money and whatever the case is? Well, we fire them and we replace them. When they start to age out, we fire them and replace them because we want to keep Menudo forever young. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Remember that song? Do you really want to live forever? Okay, let's move on. So yeah, there's that. But like I said, specifics. So the Menendez brothers are currently serving life sentences without the possibility for parole for first-degree red rum of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. In 1989, the series dramatizes the killings and the subsequent trials that ended in their conviction in 1996. Yeah, so they spent 7 years in prison, but not necessarily, because there was a period where they wasn't in jail until, they started running off with the mouth. They had the recordings. Then they had to turn over the recordings because they was confided. They confessed to the murder to their therapist. And then Judalon went and snitched. That old crazy lady. Shout out to the actress that played Judalon. I always liked her. I loved her ever since she played Mary Cherry in Popular. Ooh, excuse me. So yeah, there's that. And then here go the cast, along with the 2 sons. You got Javier Bardem fine behind her. You got my girl Chloe Sevigny. They definitely did a damn thing in that part. So Murphy also shared that he believes Monsters is, and here's the quote that had me gagged. He said Monsters is the best thing that has happened to the Menendez brothers in 30 years. Now, if that ain't a sassy comment, I don't know what it is. They are now being talked about by millions of people all over the world. There's a documentary coming out in 2 weeks about them, also on Netflix. And I think the interesting thing about it is it's asking people to answer the questions. Should they get a new trial? Should they be let out of jail? What happens in our society? Should people be locked away for life? Is there no chance ever at rehabilitation? I'm interested in that. Excuse me. And a lot of people are talking about it. We're asking really difficult questions, and it's giving these brothers another trial in the court of public opinion. But what I can tell, it's really opened up the possibility that this evidence that they claim that they have may be that there is going to be a way forward for them. And I actually think, you know what, in that part, I'm going to agree with him again. I do think that the docuseries or the series asked the question, should they get a new trial? And should they be let out of jail? They've been in jail for over 3 decades. And should they be open up for a new trial? If there is evidence there, and I feel like because of the times, especially in the 90s, where people look down on the fact that boys could possibly be sexually abused, and then the fact you have to also think about that their frontal lobes hadn't developed yet. Boys' frontal lobes do not fully develop into men until they're about 25. So they were what? Young adult teenagers, like early 20s, late teens, when they did what they did. So when you have people, why did they go to the police? Why did they do this? Why did they do, you really think the police is going to help, especially when a man of Jose Menendez's attributes, the amount of money he has, the amount of power? A lot of that talks. Y'all be thinking that the police are really out here in certain situations ready to protect and serve? It's not as easy as y'all think. Oh, I can just call the cops and they're going to save me. That's not how it works. Like, some of us live in reality. So how could they go to the police? Was it premeditated? All these things. So I do agree, like, maybe, this is an opportunity for them. I'm glad that you are the catalyst. You put the need forward. You are the springboard, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that have gotten people thinking and talking. Oh, so yeah, since the Menendez brothers are alive, there should be an opportunity for them to be like, let's reopen the case. Let's look at the stuff. And that final episode of the season when you had the judge and that other attorney who was on that's Grey's Anatomy spinoff. I can't remember. I remember him from that show, and he was on a bunch of other shows too. The attorney that was going against Menendez brothers, giving a full on monologue. He was working hard for his Emmy nomination in that scene. I don't know why I want to say, was it Private Practice? No, it wasn't Private Practice. What was the name of that damn show that was a spinoff of Grey's Anatomy with Addison? But she had her own show. Was it Private Practice? I think that probably was the name of the show. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The actor from that was the attorney. And it seemed like they already had their mind made up. And they were really trying to make sure them brothers went to jail because the flip-flop and the things were changing. They were trying to sexual abuse angle. They didn't want to buy into it. So they were trying to push this narrative like, okay, so that's a hung jury, a mistrial, whatever the case is. And then you had Lau messing up yet again. And then why we had the whole new trial? Because he couldn't keep his damn mouth closed. That's what bragging does to you. So he also says that he believes that the trial was held today, the brothers may have gotten a lesser charge of manslaughter and a lighter sentence. The second trial was a travesty. And that's exactly what I was talking about, is that second trial that got them put away. The first trial was good. The first trial was on point. The first trial would have gotten them off. But I feel like it was too much going on at that time, especially with the OJ trial. Then you had the Rodney King riots. It was too much going on. So somebody had to roll. But I do think that that second trial was a joke. They should not have been put in jail for 2 life sentences. So they gave them a choice. It was either 2 life sentences or they would have to be sentenced to death. He also said, I think it's insane that all the evidence that they claim really happened was not allowed to be admissible. That's a mistake. I think the behavior of those male jurors is an outrage. I think a lot of those jurors were homophobic. I think they refused to accept the idea that sexual abuse could happen to men. I think that's outrageous. So what do I think? I think that if there's new evidence, yes, it should be heard. I also personally do not believe that someone should spend their entire life in prison. Well, it depends on the person. Like if you're a full-on Jeffrey Dahmer, Ed Gein type, no, yes, you need to be put under the jail. But prison is supposed to be it's supposed to be about rehabilitating the people. So that when they go out into the real world, they're not the person they went in as. But don't even get me started on the system and how it has become this big financial situation where they make money off of these people being in jail. Prison is the new slavery. So we can unpack all that in another show. Now, Cooper Koch, who I actually have a story on after this, who played Eric, exclusively told Variety that he spoke to the real Eric for the first time on the night before the series premiered on Netflix. About a week later, he met Eric and Lyle when he joined Kim Kardashian for a visit to their prison to talk to inmates about prison reform. Unlike Koch, Murphy says he has never reached out to the brothers and says, I have no interest in talking to them. It's very good that Cooper has a relationship with them, and I'm very close. Obviously, with Kim Kardashian, who has spoken to them, I love Kim, and I believe, well, of course you love Kim, because you keep putting on your damn shows. And I believe she does. He said, I believe she does God's work. Okay, so now the Harriet Tubman of the prison reform, all of a sudden she doing God's work. All right, daughter. I believe in everything she believes in. I don't know what I would say to them. What would I ask them? I know what their perspective is. Well, maybe, as somebody who's going in and doing research and stuff, instead of reading Dominic Dunn book and all these other things and getting your information based over that type of research from other people who wrote books and benefited financially from the Menendez brothers, I would think I would want to go to the horse's mouth and get an essence and an idea of who these guys are, and then incorporate that into the script, as well as, because you've met them, when you're directing your actors, you're getting the different nuances of how they came across in certain things, certain facial movements, eye twitching, neck, the movement of their neck, the body language and stuff. Like, I would be taking all that in as someone who's doing extensive research on, the people that I'm doing a story on. So I don't understand why he talking about, oh, I wouldn't do it. Maybe you were just too scared to go up in there and talk to them. Because you probably think like, oh, they're not going to give you permission. But I guess, once the world has autonomy of their story, you don't need to go through the Menendez brothers to write about them. But if this is how they feel that their story is not accurate according to you, I do think that you should honor and respect that, because that's what they're saying. And then say, oh, well, they need to watch the show in order. You ain't even see the show. So how you going to sit up here and say you don't like something when you didn't watch it? Maybe you need to watch it before you go in and give your comment. Hell, I need to watch something I already lived through in real time. Like, I don't need to watch a fabricated Lifetime movie of the week version of what I did to my parents. I lived it. I live it every night when I close my eyes and when I wake up. Or maybe it's gotten to the point they're so used to it, they probably don't even think about the situation anymore. I don't know. When people's minds get a certain way, they get used to things. So while I do agree with some of the stuff that he said, I have to say the absolute gall and arrogance of this man who think he has the nerve to say that, his fabricated series is the best thing that happened to the Menendez brothers. So I do get, all the other stuff up in there. We say, oh, it's the best thing ever. You need to be grateful. That's the way it comes across in your delivery. But I don't know. I just feel like you just need to be upfront, and to me, if I'm gonna write something about somebody, if they're alive, I want to at least get their information, or to like get a sense of who they are before I go creating a whole series around, stuff and just throwing things up in there for fantasy. Because he likes to blur that line where he'll create something and then incorporate real life people up into the situation. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, whether it's, the Menendez brothers or Ryan Murphy and the arrogance of it all, throw it down in the comments below.